Unveiling incredible truths, 7 life-changing lessons about breaking free from your mind's limits. Emily sat on the edge of her bed, her heart pounding like thunder in her chest. She glanced at the clock. It was nearly time to get up and face the day, the same chaotic routine of juggling work and raising her 2 kids in a town that felt more like a cage than a community. The exhaustion weighed heavily, but there was something deeper, a flame flickering inside her, longing to be ignited. Life wasn't just about survival, it was about thriving, wasn't it? She thought of her husband, the dreams he chased, leaving her with the shattered pieces of their once happy family. Every glance from neighbors felt like a judgment, whispering reminders that success was a game for the lucky, not the single mom picking up shifts at the diner. Each day she put on a brave face for her kids, but behind closed doors, doubt gnawed at her spirit. Could she really break free from the limits set upon her? As fate would have it, Emily stumbled upon a flyer for a community mentorship program. Could this be the chance for change? Nervously, she approached the venue, her heart pounding with anticipation and dread. The room was filled with strangers and a wave of insecurity washed over her. Just when she thought of turning back, a gentle voice cut through the noise. "Welcome. I'm Mr. Thompson, and I can't wait to meet you all." His presence was warm, like sunshine breaking through a stormy sky. With an encouraging smile, he invited everyone to share their stories, each word pulling on Emily's heartstrings. As she opened up about her struggles, the heaviness lifted just a bit. She felt seen. Mr. Thompson looked directly at her, sensing the potential she kept buried under layers of fear and self-doubt. "You have the spirit of a warrior, Emily," he said, and for the first time in a long while, she dared to believe it. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." Days turned into weeks, and Emily found her footing, her spirit rising as if finally breaking through the surface of stormy waters. She got a promotion at the diner, and for once, the townsfolk started to offer more than hollow compliments. Yet, just as things shone bright, a shadow loomed. Her son, once vibrant, became a ghost of his former self, bullied at school, the pain festering like an open wound. Each sneer and whisper that invaded their home punctured her heart. The smiles they had slowly rediscovered dimmed under the weight of unkindness and prejudice. The whispers of the community felt louder than ever. Emily stood in front of the mirror, feeling the tug of despair mixed with rage. She would not let her son drown in this cycle of bullying. But how could she fight back against a tide that had swept her for so long? She took a deep breath, her resolve intensifying as she looked at her son's tired eyes. She was at a crossroads now, the path toward despair, or the road to resilience. Could she confront the town that never truly saw her? The question hung in the air, echoing in her heart. The weight of hope and fear coiled together. In that moment, she set her sights on something greater than herself, a fight not just for her family's dignity, but for everyone like them. The journey had only just begun. Emily woke up that morning with a fire in her heart. She refused to let her son suffer any longer, and the thought of standing idly by hurt more than the bitter words spoken by the bullies. Today was the day she would act. She could feel the weight of determination pushing her forward as she got dressed. It didn't matter how the town viewed her, she had a mission now. After a quick breakfast filled with nervous chatter and laughter, she drove her kids to school, her palms gripping the steering wheel tighter than usual. The car was a sacred space, a bubble of love that felt far removed from the reality waiting just outside. She glanced back at her son, whose eyes held shadows of worry. Emily's heart sank a little, but she knew strength was contagious, and she was about to show him just how strong they could be together. Once they were at school, she walked him to the front doors, squeezing his shoulder with gentle encouragement. "You're brave, and you're not alone," she whispered, though her own voice shook slightly. The moment he nodded, his own confidence hidden beneath turmoil, she knew she had to stay. She needed to talk to the staff, to speak for him in a way he couldn't. The school's hallway seemed to stretch endlessly as she made her way toward the principal's office. It was adorned with proud banners and smiling students' images of success that felt like cruel mockery. Emily took a deep breath. Mr. Thompson's words echoed in her mind, pushing her forward. "You have the spirit of a warrior." She knocked on the office door, her heart racing even faster as she stepped inside. The principal looked up, his brow furrowing in surprise. "Ms. Johnson, is everything all right?" "No," she stated firmly, refusing to waver even under his surprised gaze. "I need to talk to you about my son and the bullying that's happening." As she spoke, her voice grew stronger. She recounted the hurtful words, the isolation her son faced, and the impact it had on their family. It was her turn to be seen, to be heard, and to fight for something that mattered. When she finished, the principal nodded, but there was a flicker of discomfort in his eyes. "We do what we can, Ms. Johnson. Bullying is a challenge we're facing across the board." "I understand that," she interjected, feeling the heat of determination boiling within her, "but it's not enough. Words have power, and so do you. The school needs to send a clear message that bullying will not be tolerated." After an intense conversation, Emily left the office with mixed emotions roiling inside her. She felt like she had planted a seed but doubted whether it would take root in such an indifferent place. Still, she was determined to water it, nourished by the hope that maybe just maybe the tides could turn. Back at home, the evening light cast a warm glow in the living room. Emily sat with her children, sharing stories and laughter, yet her heart ached with worry. She knew the path forward would not be simple. They would have to fight not just against the names and faces at school, but against a community that had let them down. That night, as her son fell asleep, she held him close, feeling the steady rhythm of his breath. She whispered her promise to him: she would shield him from the storm outside, that together, they would face whatever came next. But just as Emily began to breathe a little easier, a sharp knock on the door shattered the stillness. Her heart raced. Who could it be? What awaited her on the other side? As she approached, doubts crept in. Was she prepared for whatever news awaited her? Emily reached for the doorknob, her hand trembling slightly. With a deep breath, she opened the door, her heart pounding like a drum. Standing there was a figure she barely recognized, a neighbor, Mrs. Collins, the stern woman who kept to herself. The weariness etched in Mrs. Collins' features caught Emily off guard. "Emily," Mrs. Collins began, her voice taut, "I need to speak with you. It's about the bullying and your son." A knot formed in Emily's stomach. She stepped aside, urging Mrs. Collins to enter. The air felt heavy, thick with unspoken words. "Please, have a seat," Emily offered, trying to keep her voice steady. Mrs. Collins sat, eyes downcast for a moment. "I've been watching. I see how the kids are treating him. It's heartbreaking, truly." She paused, looking up at Emily. "I wish I could say I've done something to help before now." Confusion mingled with anger in Emily's chest. "Why haven't you?" "Because I didn't think it was my place," Mrs. Collins admitted, fidgeting with her hands. "But that doesn't change the fact that I've known. I know the torment doesn't just happen at school." She hesitated again, before continuing. "Sometimes it spills into the neighborhood too." Emily's breath caught. "You mean, they're bullying him here too?" Mrs. Collins looked ashamed. "I overheard some kids yesterday, making fun of him outside your house. I thought they were just kids being kids. I didn't even consider how much it hurt, until now." Each word was like a stone dropped into still water, sending ripples of pain through Emily's heart. "I thought I was the only one who saw it," she whispered, tears pricking at the corners of her eyes. "I know it's late, but I can't sit by any more," Mrs. Collins declared, her resolve surprising them both. "If you want, I can help. I'll talk to the other parents, open their eyes. Maybe we can do a neighborhood watch, or a community meeting, something to bring awareness." Hope flickered in Emily's heart, thrilling and terrifying at the same time. "You would do that for us?" she asked, disbelief painting her voice. "Of course. We've got to look out for each other, right?" Mrs. Collins replied, her voice hardening with conviction. As they discussed plans, something shifted within Emily. It dawned on her that sometimes change was born from the most unexpected corners. Here was someone who had been oblivious, who was now stepping forward. Maybe she wasn't alone in this fight after all. Emily's heart lightened as they began brainstorming ideas. But just as the conversation flowed, a sinister doubt crept in, whispering that this could be another empty promise. What if, after all this effort, nothing changed? An hour later, Emily walked Mrs. Collins to the door, her mind buzzing with new possibilities. As the door clicked shut, she felt a strange mix of gratitude and apprehension. For the first time, she sensed a collective strength brewing. That feeling didn't last long. As Emily began to settle back into her home, she noticed something unusual: her son, sitting quietly at the kitchen table, head down. A piece of paper lay before him, and he clutched a pencil like it was a lifeline. "What are you working on, honey?" she asked, stepping closer. He jumped, startled by the sound of her voice. "Just drawing," he mumbled, but the tremor in his voice told her it was more than a simple art project. Emily reached out, gently pulling back the paper. Her breath caught as she saw his drawings. Each figure, each scrawled word conveyed pain, rejection, fear. This wasn't just art, this was his truth, laid bare. Suddenly, the night was alive with questions. Was it right for her to push him to share this? What if revealing his struggles only brought more pain? Before she could act on her thoughts, the doorbell rang again. With uncertainty creeping back into her heart, she wondered who could possibly be there now. Could it be someone to help? Or was it another wound waiting to be opened? Emily hesitated at the door, her breath hitching in her throat. She glanced back at her son, who regarded her with wide, uncertain eyes. The doorbell rang again, sharper this time, demanding her attention. With a deep inhale, she stepped away from the table and opened the door. A figure stood on the porch, their silhouette illuminated by the soft glow from the streetlight. It was Jared, the father of one of the boys who had been tormenting her son. Emily's stomach twisted as memories of playground scuffles and hurtful taunts surged through her mind. Yet, there was an unfamiliar intensity in Jared's eyes. "Emily," he began, his voice steady but lower than she had anticipated. "I need to talk to you about something important." Her heart raced as she stepped aside, letting him enter. She didn't trust him, not after everything, but she couldn't afford to push away potential allies, not anymore. "Have a seat," Emily offered, forcing her voice to remain calm. Jared perched himself on the edge of the couch, glancing around as if weighing the atmosphere of her home. The tension hung thick, much like it had with Mrs. Collins, but this was wrapped in old wounds and blame. "I came because my son." Jared paused, his expression shifted, pained and remorseful. "He told me about the things happening to your son. I didn't know. I thought, kids can be cruel, but this." As he spoke, Emily's breath quickened, a storm of emotions swirling within her. "How could you not know?" she bit out. "Your son is part of it." "I know," he replied, his voice heavy. "And I can't defend him. But I'm here because I want to change things, and I need your help." That surprised her, but then doubt gathered like clouds. Was this genuine? Or another empty promise? She recalled how their neighborhood had been a battleground for unkindness, where parents turned a blind eye. "What do you think I can do?" "I want to start a group," Jared said quickly, desperation creeping into his tone. A group of parents and community members willing to stand up against bullying. We can team up, handle it together. He looked deeply into her eyes, searching for a flicker of understanding. Emily's heart vacillated between hope and skepticism, torn between her instinct to shield her son and the yearning for change. You want others to join in, like Mrs. Collins? She felt the weight of disbelief in her voice. Exactly. We need voices, Emily. We can't let our boys believe this is normal. They need to face the consequences of their actions, he insisted, leaning forward. But it starts with us. We have to be the change. The words echoed in her mind, filling the air with possibility. But, in her heart, fear thrummed strongly. What if they failed? What if the change she wished for was just an illusion that would break her son's spirit more? I'll think about it, she finally replied, though even as she said it, her heart fluttered with uncertainty. Just then, her son walked into the room, rubbing his eyes sleepily. The moment stretched as he looked between them, sensing the heaviness, stirring Emily's protective instincts. She wanted to tell him everything would be okay, but the words felt hollow. Instead, she crouched down to his level, brushing a hand through his hair, as if to shield him from the reality that draped over them like a dark cloud. As Jared left, Emily felt a mix of dread and reluctant resolve. She glanced back at her son, whose innocent eyes silently asked questions she couldn't answer. Was she putting him in danger every time she considered opening up? Behind her, the door clicked shut with a finality that echoed in her chest. She wondered if fear was meant to keep her and her son safe or if she was letting it imprison them both. What was the right choice when all paths seemed fraught with pain? And as she settled back at the kitchen table with her son, Emily's thoughts roiled like a wild storm. The drawings scattered before her weren't just cries for help, they were possibilities waiting to be explored. Would she risk it all to break the silence, or would fear keep her shackled? Emily sat at the table, the weight of the conversation still pressing down on her. The drawings spread before her felt like fragments of a broken heart, each scribbled line carrying a snippet of her son's pain. She absently turned one over, revealing a blue-sketched figure with 1,000 tiny tears falling from its eyes. It was a haunting image but, in its own way, a call for help. It pushed her like a whisper coaxing her towards a decision. Mom? Her son's voice broke through her thoughts. What were you and Mr. Jared talking about? The innocence in his question caused a pang in Emily's chest. She wanted to shield him from everything, to keep his heart from hardening before it had a chance to bloom. Nothing important, baby. Just, adult stuff, she answered, keeping her tone light. But he frowned, not buying her charm. It didn't seem like nothing. You looked worried. Emily sighed, knotting her fingers together. How could she explain the complicated web of parents, pain, and promises to a child? I'm just trying to think of ways to help your friends be nicer, she finally said. It was a soft truth, one she hoped would comfort him. He nodded but didn't seem convinced. He picked up a red crayon and began to draw on a fresh sheet of paper, the squeak of the crayon against the surface offering a soothing sound. Emily's gaze drifted to the window, watching as the evening light surrendered to dusk. After a moment, he looked up. Can we make a big picture together? Like all of us? His request caught her off guard. A picture of what? She asked, intrigued. Of everyone, smiling and holding hands. That way, if people see it, maybe they'll remember to be nice. His little voice trailed off, and she could see the hope sparkling in his eyes. That sounds like a wonderful idea, she said slowly. A smile spread across her face as warmth washed over her. It was innocence molded into a vision of unity. She joined him on the floor, pulling out colors from the box. Together, they began to fill the page. Each mark etched hope, each crayon stroke softened the edges of their previous fears. But as they created, the earlier conversation pressed back into her mind, a shadow lurking in the corners of her newfound optimism. Was it enough? Could a picture change minds and hearts? She felt the panic of uncertainty seep in again. Once finished, they admired their artwork, a vibrant mural of possibilities spreading over the entire page. "It's beautiful, Mom," he exclaimed, beaming with pride. "It really is," she agreed, feeling the swell of love in her chest. But what if their shared beauty never reached the eyes of those who needed to see it? That night, Emily lay in bed unable to sleep, her son's soft breathing beside her. The darkness felt heavier, and the silence echoed with doubts. Jared's words swirled in her mind, repeating like a mantra, "Be the change." If she wanted things to be different, she had to step outside the shadows of her fears and embrace the possibility of collaboration. The thought scared her to the core, but she realized it wasn't just about her anymore, it was about making a world where her son could thrive. By morning, the sun poured golden rays into her kitchen. A new resolve began to form. What if she took the step Jared had proposed, not just for her son but for all children in the neighborhood? As she made her coffee, the aroma filled the room, mingling with her thoughts. She needed to gather her courage and reach out to the others. The idea of a group didn't seem so distant anymore. But would anyone else share her vision? Would the other parents be willing to confront the issues that had festered in their community for so long? With every sip, she determined to take that leap. She picked up her phone and paused, the push of the button feeling monumental. And then, just as the world felt ready to change, a loud knock reverberated through her home, startling her. She hesitated. Was it Jared again? Or perhaps someone else looking to stir up trouble? With her heart pounding in her chest, she approached the door once more. What awaited her? Behind that door might change everything. Emily took a breath, steadying herself against the wall as she reached for the doorknob. The knocking continued, a steady rhythm that echoed her racing heart. She opened the door, half expecting to confront something she couldn't bear. Standing before her was a woman she recognized, a neighbor named Lisa. Lisa wore a soft smile, yet her eyes carried an urgency. Emily felt a flood of relief mixed with curiosity wash over her. "Hey, Emily. Sorry to drop by unexpectedly," Lisa said, shifting her weight from one foot to the other. "I hope I'm not interrupting anything." "No, not at all," Emily replied, stepping aside to let her in. "Just working on some drawings with my son." "Oh. That sounds lovely," Lisa said, her gaze scanning the kitchen. "I actually had something on my mind. Can we talk?" Emily's stomach twisted slightly, the gravity of the situation making her senses sharpen. She led Lisa to the dining table, where their son's colorful creations rested, silent testimonies to their hopes. "I saw Jared yesterday," Lisa began, leaning forward. "He mentioned the bullying at school and I've been thinking. We need to do something. As parents, as a community." Each word spilled forth as if a dam had broken. Emily nodded, her heart swelling with the weight of understanding. "You feel it too, then? It's so hard to watch our kids suffer." "Yes." Lisa's voice was firm now. "I mean, it breaks my heart to see my daughter come home upset because of what others say to her. I think it's time we the parents take charge and show them how to be kinder." Emily's initial hesitation began to wane. Maybe this was the moment that would ignite the change she so desperately wanted. "What did you have in mind?" she asked, her voice rising with hope. "A gathering. A meeting of sorts. I've talked to some neighbors, and they're on board. We could plan an event, something fun, where we can involve the kids and educate them on kindness. A mural, maybe? Like what you and your son created." The vision sparked something inside of Emily. She could picture families painting together, laughter filling the air, perhaps even a potluck. "That sounds amazing. But will people actually come?" she wondered aloud. "I believe they will. This could be our chance to build unity, bring awareness." It gives us a place to talk. Lisa's passion radiated, her eyes bright and determined. If we want to change the way our kids treat each other, we need to step up ourselves first. Emily looked at the drawings spread across the table. Each one held a story, a plea. We can show them, she murmured, a smile inching back onto her face. The idea flourished, weaving threads of connection between the parents in their community. Suddenly, the daunting task of confronting these issues felt less like an insurmountable drive and more like a collaborative mission. We could even call it a day of kindness, Emily said. We can invite everyone. Yes. Let us plan it out, Lisa beamed, enthusiasm bubbling. We can meet up later this week to brainstorm. As they talked and planned, each detail of the gathering seemed to pull them closer together. Emily felt the weight of her worries lighten with every passing moment. They could do this. They could be the change they wanted to see. But just as the conversation reached a crescendo, the phone rang. Emily's heart dropped. She glanced at the caller ID and saw it was an unknown number. Hesitation swept through her again. What if it's about the bullying? Lisa asked, picking up on Emily's shift in mood. Should she answer it? What if it was more bad news? With her heart racing, she reached for the phone, her fingers trembling. What awaited her on the other end could change everything once again. Would it be a glimmer of hope, or another storm cloud? Emily hesitated for a moment, her heart pounding in her chest. She could feel the weight of Lisa's gaze, the silent expectation hanging in the air. The ringing grew louder in her ears, mocking her indecision. What if it was something awful? Or worse, what if it was a call she didn't want to receive but needed to? Taking a deep breath, she answered the call. Hello? Her voice trembled, betraying her nerves. Hi, is this Emily? The voice on the other end was unfamiliar but had a kind lilt that offered a hint of comfort. Yes, this is she replied cautiously. I'm calling from Maplewood Elementary, the voice continued, regarding your son, Jared. Is this a good time to talk? Emily's stomach dropped. Yes. What is going on? There's been some concern regarding his well-being. We've noticed he seems withdrawn lately. Have you noticed any changes at home? She felt a wave of despair wash over her. This was what she feared. Yes, he's been having a tough time. Bullying at school. Her voice trailed off, and she could feel Lisa's reassuring presence beside her. I understand. We're really trying to improve our school environment, and we'd love to support your family, the voice continued. We can schedule a meeting with the counselor and some staff members to discuss how we can help Jared and address these issues. Emily's heart clenched as she listened. That would be great, thank you. Hope flickered inside her as she glanced at Lisa, who nodded encouragingly. After hanging up, Emily felt a mix of emotions swirling inside her. While the call had brought to light the challenges her son faced, it also opened a door to support they desperately needed. They want to help him, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Lisa smiled gently. That's a good sign. It means you're not alone in this. You should lean on them and the community. Yes, and with the Day of Kindness, we can get everyone involved. Maybe it can shift things for Jared and the other kids. Emily felt the heaviness begin to lighten just a bit. They spent the next hour pouring their ideas into a plan, refining every detail of the upcoming event. Each suggestion ignited passion in them. The thought of creating a safe space for kids to express themselves sparked hope. Emily felt the power of the community surrounding her. Together, they could make a difference. As dusk fell and the kitchen filled with shadows, Emily looked at the drawings on the table again. Each creation seemed to shimmer with potential, the colors vibrant, the stories rich. If we can bring families together, we might just start to heal some wounds. Exactly. Lisa replied, eyes gleaming. When we show our kids that kindness is a community effort, it could change everything. Just then, there was a loud knock at the door. They both flinched, startled. Emily exchanged a wary glance with Lisa. Who could that be at this hour? With her heart racing again, she approached the door. A sense of urgency wrapped around her, making her pulse quicken. As she opened it, she found two of their neighbors, Mark and Susan, both looking serious. "We heard about the event," Mark said, his tone firm. "We want in. But we also need to talk about something important regarding the bullying." Emily felt her breath hitch. What else was going on? Just when she thought they had a handle on things, the situation was escalating. "Okay," Emily nodded, a lump forming in her throat. "Come in. We need to figure this out together." What had they uncovered now that could change everything? As soon as they stepped inside, Emily felt a shift in the atmosphere. Mark and Susan were usually the embodiment of neighborly smiles and casual chats over the fence. But tonight, their demeanor hinted at something deeper. The tension was palpable, hanging in the air like a storm cloud. "Thank you for coming," Emily said, gesturing to the living room. "I'm glad you're here to help." Once they settled on the couch, Mark leaned forward, his brows furrowed. "We need to discuss everything that's been happening with the kids. There's more to this than just Jared's situation." Emily exchanged a worried glance with Lisa. "What are you talking about?" she managed to ask. Susan, who had been silent until now, spoke up quietly. "We've heard whispers from the kids at school. It's not just Jared. A lot of kids are feeling unsafe. It's spreading. We think there are bigger issues at play here." Emily felt a knot form in her stomach. "What do you mean?" "Some kids have been sharing tales about a specific group targeting others," Mark explained, his voice steady but urgent. "They're calling it a gang of sorts, preying on anyone they see as different or weak. Jared's been caught in the middle." Emily's heart sank. She could feel the weight of his words. It wasn't just Jared who needed support, it was a whole community of children fighting their own battles. "Do we know who they are?" Mark shook his head. "Not definitively, but we have names. More importantly, we have to act before it escalates further. We can't let this continue." "A lot of parents don't realize it's happening," Susan added, her voice quivering. "I think they feel helpless, just like we do. But we can be a force for change at the event, we can raise awareness." Emily felt overwhelming urgency wash over her. "Yes. We need to inform others, let them know what's really going on while creating that community space for kids to speak up. We can't let Jared and others feel alone in this." Lisa's eyes sparkled with determination. "If we join forces, we can amplify this message. Let us spread the word. Flyers, social media, it all matters." There was a moment of silence. They all sat in contemplation, the weight of the situation resting heavily on their shoulders. The thought of what was happening to their children was enough to fuel a fire in their hearts. Emily's phone buzzed on the table, breaking the tension. She picked it up and glanced at the screen. It was a message from Jared: "Mom, please don't let me go to school tomorrow." Her stomach twisted painfully. He's scared. The realization hit her like a punch in the gut. Mark leaned in closer. "We can protect him together. We'll talk to the school, approach them as a united front. If parents rally, they have to listen." Spurred on by a rush of hope and fear, Emily felt her determination solidify. "Let us meet with the school. We must tell them everything we know. The sooner we act, the better. This can end." With renewed purpose, the four of them started brainstorming ideas, pooling their resources for what the next steps should be. Emily could feel the flicker of hope igniting again. Maybe they could change this, bring the light back into Jared's life and the lives of so many others. But just as they began sketching out a plan, a loud crash echoed from outside. They paused and exchanged quick glances, a new wave of dread washing over them. What was that? Emily whispered, her heart racing anew. Before anyone could answer, the tense night erupted into chaos as they heard shouting and the unmistakable sound of skidding tires. What is happening? Susan asked urgently, her hands trembling. Emily's mind spun. What new darkness lay ahead? This battle was just beginning, and they had to brace themselves for whatever storm was about to break. Would they be strong enough to face it? The chaos outside intensified, each shout cutting through the fabric of their resolve. Emily felt her heart pound as she rushed to the window, pulling the curtain aside just enough to peek out. The street was illuminated by flashing lights, and the scene was unfolding like a nightmare. Call the police. Lisa urged, her voice trembling with fear. Emily grabbed her phone, but her hands felt cold and unsteady. She dialed quickly, her brain racing with concerns. What if it was connected to the threatening rumors at school? What if Jared was in danger? 911, what's your emergency? The operator's voice broke through. There's a fight outside, Emily strained to explain. A group of kids, and it looks dangerous. Someone could get hurt. As she spoke, she could hear the echoes of panic outside, voices fighting to be heard above the chaos. She hung up, turning back to her friends. They're on their way, she said, trying to sound hopeful, but her voice wavered. Mark and Susan stepped closer, their expressions a mixture of fear and defiance. We can't wait for help. Maybe we need to go out there. Mark suggested, his voice low but fiery. Are you crazy? Susan shot back, her eyes wide. What if they turn on us? We can't just stand here. He insisted, fists clenched. What if it's our kids involved? Emily felt torn. The thought of stepping outside sent shivers down her spine. Yet, this was precisely what they were fighting against. They had to stand up, not just for their children, but for every child feeling powerless. Yes, we can't just hide away, Emily said suddenly, her voice gaining strength. We need to be out there. If we don't show them we're willing to fight for our kids, they'll think they can keep this up. Lisa nodded, determination sparking in her eyes. Let us go together. Strength in numbers, right? With uneasy acceptance, they moved toward the door, Emily leading the way. As they stepped outside, the chill in the air prickled at her skin. Shouts resonated louder, and she could see groups of kids, some on the ground, others shouting at each other. Stay close. She instructed her friends, scanning the scene for any sign of Jared. Her heart raced as she spotted a familiar face, Jared, standing across the street, frozen, eyes wide as chaos unfolded around him. Jared. She called, her voice nearly lost in the madness, but he didn't hear her. He stood rooted in place, uncertainty etched across his features. Suddenly, someone from the crowd turned, eyes glaring, and pointed toward Emily and the group. Look! There's those parents. The atmosphere shifted sharply. It was as if all eyes were now on them. The tension thickened, and Emily felt a swell of fear. She had hoped to be a beacon, not a target. Let us get him. Another voice shouted, charged with aggression. Shock raced through Emily. This was no longer just a fight about rumors, it was something more, something they hadn't been prepared for. Stay back. Mark shouted, stepping forward, ready to confront the hostility. We're here to help. But the crowd surged, and Emily felt the air grow heavy with anxiety. She could see Jared starting to back away, confusion obvious. Jared! She yelled again, her heart trying to break free of her chest. Run to us. But as the chaos swirled around, Emily found herself wondering, could they truly protect him? What if this battle brought them everything they feared? This was a fight for more than just the safety of their children, it was the fight for their very future. Could they overcome the darkness before it swallowed them all? Emily could hardly believe the nightmare unfolding before her eyes. The shouts, the confusion, the chaotic energy twisted her heart. Jared stood at the edge, caught between fear and loyalty to the friends firing insults and aggression toward each other. She could see it in his eyes. He wanted to escape, but the gravity of peer pressure held him tightly. "Jared, please!" she shouted again, her voice breaking through the din. He hesitated, glancing between the fray and his mother's pleading gaze. Time seemed to stretch, as if the world around them was caught in slow motion. Suddenly, she felt Lisa's hand on her back, firm and steady. "We've got this," she said quietly, drawing closer. The supportive presence filled Emily with a renewed sense of purpose. She wasn't fighting this battle alone. None of them were. "Listen up." Mark's voice rose above the chaos, determined to be heard. He stepped forward, placing himself between the commotion and Emily, giving her a moment to gather her thoughts. This was a pivotal moment, no doubt about it. This was no longer just about her son, this was about every child in their community. "We are not just here to yell or throw fists." Mark pressed forward, his eyes fierce. "We are tired of the bullying. Tired of the pain we see our kids suffering. They deserve better." The crowd wavered, the energy shifting slightly, uncertainty beginning to sink in. Were they all truly willing to go this far? Emily took a small step forward, feeling the warmth of her friends surrounding her and finally finding her voice amidst the chaos. "Let us show them a better way," she called out, her heart pounding in sync with the intense urgency of the moment. "Let us show our kids how to stand up for each other rather than against one another. Every child deserves kindness, not cruelty." The words hung in the air like a challenge. Suddenly, from among the crowd, a voice rang out, a voice she recognized. "Mom! I don't want to fight." Jared's panicked exclamation cut through the tension, making heads turn. "Then don't," Emily urged, stepping completely into view, letting her son see her unwavering support. "Fight for kindness instead. Let us leave the hatred behind. We're here to create a community where everyone feels safe and valued." Jared's expression softened, and she could see the courage rising within him. Taking a bold step, he slowly moved towards her, the pull of her words resonating deep within him. Emily felt tears prick at her eyes, but she stayed focused on him. "Join us," she encouraged the nearby kids, her heart racing. "Stand up for what's right, not what's easy." As more children started settling down, some murmurs of agreement began rippling through the crowd. Emily's spirit lifted, they had the power to change this. And then one by one, other kids began reflecting the shift, some stepping back from the fight, others looking around as if realizing they, too, could choose a different path. "I don't want this," Jared echoed again, looking at his peers. "Let us all be together. We can be better than this." A silence fell, and gradually others began to step forward, nodding at his words. The air shifted once more, no longer suffocating but full of relief and hopeful energy. Emily took a deep breath of her own, suddenly feeling lighter as she observed her son take charge, his bravery blooming like a flower breaking through cracked pavement. "Together!" she shouted, powered by a wave of hope as she watched her son lead the charge towards something brighter. Suddenly, the police arrived, their sirens fading into background noise. Officer Garcia stepped out of the vehicle and raised both hands. "All right, let us all take a breath. We're here to help." As he approached, the tension dissipated and kids began to look around sheepishly, acknowledging the situation. In that instance, Emily sensed that they had crossed an invisible threshold. With renewed focus, they could begin to heal. "Let us remember tonight," she declared, her heart resonating with fervor. "We're a community, and we need to look out for each other. No more excuses, together let us lift each other up instead." And slowly, one flip of the switch after another, more kids joined in, offering their own variations of a plan, a mural, an event, compassion and connection. As the air filled with laughter instead of bitter taunts, Emily felt a tear slide down her cheek. And for the first time throughout this journey, hope didn't just feel like a flicker, it felt unstoppable. Hours later, after the chaos had settled, Emily gathered with the adults, each feeling like a tiny plug in the giant dam they were there to mend. As they set the groundwork for their day of kindness, they shared grievances, dreams, and ideas. "We're in this together," Lisa smiled, her confidence shimmering in the evening light. "Let us not back down." A flicker of newfound unity coursed through them all, and Emily vowed that they wouldn't just spark a single event, they would ignite a movement. As the sun set behind them, painting the sky in vibrant orange and red hues, Emily saw the beauty of change take shape right before her eyes. The shadows of doubt lifted, not because they had completely beaten the battle, but because they had formed a bond. They would rise together for every child, ensuring a brighter tomorrow, not just for Jared, but for all their children. And with that conviction, she really smiled at her little warrior beside her. "This is just the beginning," she whispered, feeling the warmth of hope spread through her heart. Yes, indeed, they were just getting started. Now it's your turn. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories that could inspire you more. Leave a like now to prove that you're with us in this fight against bullying. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. Let us keep the discussion going. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Let us spread kindness together. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second.